Okay, good afternoon, my friends, and welcome to another edition of Removing That Liberal Blindfold for this Wednesday, the 20th day of March in the year of our Lord 2019. Yesterday's update was a great one, and so far, still out of jail on that one, but on now to today's update. The Green New Deal is offering, among other things, a plan to convert the U.S. to 100% clean energy by 2030. However, mounting research suggests the proposed plan would both be very costly and difficult to apply due to massive infrastructure changes that would be essential for it to work. Democrat proposed bill has faced a host of criticism from both politicians and economists in regards to the pricing and implementation of the bill. And hello, Joan. Good to see you here. Some studies, such as one from the nonprofit American Action Forum, has suggested the proposed bill could cost between $51 to $93 trillion. That's trillion with a T in taxpayer money over the next decade. Hello, Lillian. And they're balking at $5 billion for a border wall. Give me a break. Another major issue plaguing the potentially costly bill is the proposal of the U.S. switching to 100% clean energy by 2030. Experts warn without proper updates in the country's transmission lines, it would be essentially impossible to transport an adequate amount of wind and solar energy from the energy farms, which would mostly be in rural areas. You know, those areas that the Democrats want to take completely out of the voting system. This means cities will be left with insufficient energy unless they implement large-scale infrastructure overhauls. However, the new report released this month by economists from the Brattle Group found $30 to $90 billion would have to be spent on transmission lines by 2030 to serve the deal's plans for clean energy. This translates to a 20 to 50% increase in average annual transmission spending compared to the past decade. Another problem is how the nationwide infrastructure overhaul would be implemented. Approving transmission lines is a decade-long process between proposals and approvals from local and state governments. In fact, states have most of the power in approving transmission lines, not the federal government. So that would have to change because the federal government would have to implement it. This means if the state governments decide they do not wish to upgrade their own power lines, the federal government would have little to no ways to combating their decision. So, as a growing number of Democrats continue to support the bill, questions continue to arise surrounding its practicality. And now to remove the liberal blindfold, folks, it is telling, my friends, that the Democrats will not give in to President Trump, the one thing that they are in Washington, D.C. for, to keep Americans safe by giving up $5 billion for border security. Yet they want to spend $52 to $93 trillion over the next decade for changing America from fossil fuels to clean energy that hasn't even been developed yet. I think they have all lost their collective minds and then threw them into the garbage disposal while it was turned on. Hello, Larry. In fact, the idea that they would tell us they want to spend that much in such a short amount of time tells me that it should and it should tell all of you out here that they care nothing for our national debt, that they care nothing for the money that is in our wallets, except that they want it in theirs. Transmission lines alone on this plan of theirs would cost enough to build a solid wall across the southwest and probably Canada too. But they are balking at $5 to $6 billion. And to top the whole thing off, they want to do this while the wind and solar farms that would be running the whole country come from areas of the country that they want to totally cut off from the vote with their idea that the Electoral College needs to be gotten rid of. If they did that, my friends, and the popular vote starts electing socialists and communists to our government, which it will, I can see these solar and wind farms being taken away from the government's use and put in the private sector taking care of themselves, leaving Washington, D.C. in the dark, because people will not allow this. How having to pay for this and then being left out of the voting process just to give the Democrats what they want, which, as I've said over and over again, is to destroy America and make it a socialist utopia like Venezuela is today. And it will happen, folks. America will become a third world nation, and all of our riches going to the Democrats in Washington, and nothing left for the rest of us. You want to see that happen, Cliff? Because you will be part of that very, very, very poor too if your precious Democrats get what they want. You might want that, but I don't want to allow the destruction of this nation by a party that wants nothing but the destruction of this nation. And that's what the Democrats are after, the annihilation of freedoms and liberty. They get that, and there will be another revolutionary war. John Adams in 1797 said this, and it applies to today. In the midst of these pleasing ideas, we should be unfaithful to ourselves should we ever lose sight of the danger to our liberties if anything partial or extraneous should infect the purity of our free, fair, virtuous, and independent elections. That is coming in the form of the Democrats, my friends. Mark my words. Thank you, Joan, Lillian, and Larry, for being here. We are here to push the facts that the liberal, lying, lamestream media leaves out. Facts that change the story from what is right to what the left wants, which is never right anymore. Sorry about that. Truth, justice, and the American way are the continuing casualties in everything that the left stands for, and the American people need to learn that or lose everything that this country was formed for. God bless America. God bless our troops. And as always, we will not be ruled. Have a good and blessed day. And hello, Barb. Good to have you here. Have a good, safe, and blessed day.